Thank you. Please welcome DJ Zeeth.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. Yes, y'all.
Leave me
You
alone.
don't stop.
I don't care anymore. I ain't got nothing to live for. Since he's been gone, I just want to be dead. dead. I wish I was. Keep gone. I'm all alone with these tears in my eyes. I'm searching for my guide. I've got to find him fast, or this trip may be my last. I'll be dead. I'll be dead. Can't go on. I ain't got nothing to live for. I just want to be dead.
Inside, I got nothing to hide, and I'm feeling like I'm happy, feeling happy inside. The world is right, yeah. Give me a happy day. At the head of the hills, fumbling over the wasteland.
Thank you. Check this out.
You ever want something that you know you shouldn't have? The more you know you shouldn't have it, the more you want it. And then one day, you get it. It's so good to you. But it's just like my girl. When she's around, I just feel so good. But right now, I just feel cold. So cold.
Yeah. How y'all doing out there today? Make some noise. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing out there? I want to hear you real loud and clear. Yes, thank you. So excited to be supporting Vanessa's new book today, supporting local business, supporting the local culture and everything. Thank you so much for having me here today. Let's keep it going. Yeah. How y'all doing out there? You guys having a good time? All right, y'all. Thanks once again for having me. My name is DJ Seath. This is what I call the big finale. I want y'all hands to clap along this. Yeah, keep it going, y'all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I want to tell you about this book, Human Expansive Edition. It's called the Expansive Edition because it actually is a reflection of my first book. And so my first book I wrote about 5 years ago, and it was very much, it was what I say is my journey of being human to myself, each other, and the world. But when 5 years passed and I kind of realized, oh, actually, there's a lot of things that I believed in at that time 5 years ago that I really have evolved or that have changed. There was a person, this part of me who I was 5 years ago and who this person is today has evolved, has changed. And so that's really what this journey is. Lucky for you, you do not have to buy the first book because it's in here, so you're welcome. You get 2 books in one, essentially, but the first book is in here, so you'll read the first book, and then after that we get into the reflections of that book. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some themes here. Before we even get into that, I do also want to thank those who read advanced copies. Hero de Michelis. Hero is someone who I actually did my mindfulness training with. Hero's done a lot of really amazing work. She's on the United Nations Peace for Purpose project. And so she does really, really amazing work. And I'm really grateful that Hero took the time to read this book. I also want to say thank you to Aya. Aya is actually a Berlin-based singer. I actually had the chance to interview Aya on my podcast, and she has a really incredible story about being in the Israeli army and then having to flee that afterwards, and this whole journey of learning that she is like her roots as a Moroccan Yemeni artist. So it's been a really, really interesting journey. You can check that out if that's of interest to you. But I'm really grateful for all these different voices. We did have some local voices as well. If you know Abigail Fogg, who used to be an NCAA player, Abby also read the book. I interviewed her as well. That episode's actually going to be airing on Shaw as of October 1st, so you can check that out. And I also did have, I don't know if you know Adrian Vilaka. Adrian couldn't make it tonight, but he is the producer and host of Borderline Radio, and you can actually catch his show on NPR. And he also read the book as well, and so I'm really grateful that he took that chance. And again, just really highlighting local voices, everyone local who does really amazing work and really amazing things. So back to human, because I'm really good at talking and bragging about everybody else, but when I gotta talk about me, that's when I'm like, I don't know what to actually say. But again, so I wrote this 5 years after my first book, and I remember when I sat down to write it the first time, I was like, well, I'm gonna start off by reading my first book, and so I did that, and I hated it. I read the first book, and I was like, what the heck is this? Like, how did I even how was this on Times Square? Like, this is awful. And of course, obviously, it had nothing to do with the book. It was just kind of, I think, rereading a piece of work 5 years later and seeing these parts of you that you didn't see before. You didn't realize that was there, and then you see it again, and you're like, oh my God, like, who was this? And so I don't think I had an identity crisis, but I definitely did hate the book. And I did not touch it for another 6 months. I was like, I'm not even writing another book. I can't believe it. Like, there's no way. So 6 months passed, didn't even touch the stupid book. And then one day I was like, okay, you know what? Let's try this again. Let me be a little bit more graceful here. So I went back to my first book, read it, and I was like, okay, better. A little better than the first time. But I basically did that cycle for a solid 2 years until I finally ended up with what we have here. That includes actually deleting the manuscript off my hard drive at one point. That was awful. And so having to start again. And that was not salvageable, unfortunately. But yeah, so it's been a journey. It's been a journey writing this book. But when I look back, I realize every draft, every deleted manuscript, every draft was really just this version or this part of me I was continuing to shed, continuing to evolve. And I think that's been the interesting part of writing this book, is that journey. And I think it's interesting because when we think of artists, right, like, yeah, our work is what we share and it's going to resonate with you in the way that it resonates. But like for us, it's the process, right? Like there's so much that comes just from the actual art and the craft itself that we learn. And I'm sure DJ Seath can probably relate to that in some level. So that is how this book came to be. It was hell, in short, is what I'm trying to tell you. But it's all right because it's all about that inner work. Something that's important to me, but more important is around how our inner work really reflects our outer work, or how our inner world reflects the outer world, and how we can contribute to change. So that's something that you'll see here in the book that I talk about, was how when I first wrote Human, I think I had that intention set. But by the time when I reread it, I realized the intention was set, but I still had some inner work I had to do. Now I can actually better embody that belief and understanding how those two worlds can come together, how I can bring my inner world and outer world together in a way that's a bit more authentic. And again, just in a way that's a bit more embodied based off of my journey and my healing. Another thing I would say that has evolved for me too is what I think healing is, and I talk a little bit about this in the book, that at that point, when I first wrote Human, healing was some destination or something I had to be, but I think now it's actually about liberation, and I think liberating ourselves from not just, hurt and pain and trauma. We all have our own lived experiences, but I think the stories that our trauma, hurt, and pain tell us about who we are, about what we're worth, about how we define ourselves, essentially how we see ourselves. And so I think that is something that has also really changed about me, and I think that, and about my definition of healing. I think liberation is something that we can all share, and that we can all have, and that we all really are, I think. And so you'll see that reflection in the book as well. I also actually did want to highlight one more thing. I did want to highlight another voice who actually read this book, and it's actually Chip Skowron, who used to be the CEO of Prison Entrepreneurship Program. And I am actually a sponsor of the Prison Entrepreneurship Program, part of my outer work that I do. And I meet every Tuesday with returning citizens that are leaving prison, and they're re-entering society, and they're trying to figure out the world. And I've worked with some people that have spent maybe, have been out of prison for a week, versus some that have been out of prison for a day, some that have been out of prison for a year. And so my role is to just help them and support them in whatever way makes sense. And I've had to help them navigate the workforce. How do they get jobs? When you go to prison, if you have debt, that still racks up, right? So how are we navigating all these financial setbacks as well? But I'm really grateful that Chip took an opportunity to read this. Chip actually himself went to prison as well for insider trading. But what really was powerful to me, some words that he wrote, which are on the back, this book is not a self-improvement project, but a reorientation of your being. And I thought it was really, really beautiful, because when you read the foreword, you'll see his journey of how he did that, how he found community, and how that was something that was really important to him in his journey, and now he saw that reflected back in the book. And so I love that so much, because it just tells me that this book can work for everybody and anybody, wherever you are on your journey. There is something here for you, and so I'm really grateful that Chip did take a read through and offered really, really beautiful words. There are some specific things, themes that I did want to maybe just share today. One thing I think that was probably one of the more challenging things for me to write. I did talk a little bit about some of the sexual trauma that I experienced, and it was interesting because and I'll talk about it in the book, how in Human you kind of saw, in the first book you saw sort of glimpses of it. But that was because I didn't quite understand the experience myself. And so I was trying to kind of when I write about it in Human, and if you read it, you'll see it's kind of told in flashbacks. But I didn't quite know what it all was until 2 years after I finished writing Human. And so then I had all these realizations, and you start realizing what that experience actually was. And then you kind of have to backtrack, right? So now you have to start almost re-healing what you healed, because what you healed was what needed to be healed, but now you have to reorient it again. And so you'll see that journey and this realization in this book of how, that is why it was very vague. I would read reviews or comments that it was very vague. And it was vague. It was vague for a reason. One, the book is not my life story, right? It's meant to invite us to bring our inner and outer worlds together. But also, I didn't quite understand the extent of that experience at the time that I wrote Human. And so you'll see that reflection as well. You'll see that understanding of, yeah, it was way after the time that I wrote the book that I understood this was actually something that I had experienced. And so you'll see that play out. And, I think that might make sense why the work of Knock and Dunn is something that resonated with me and why I understand the work that they do and why it's important. So that's one thread I did want to touch on today. I would also highlight too around that time was when my father passed away, and so all of that was kind of happening at the same time that I didn't quite understand that experience, and so I'll talk a little bit about how that all that kind of muddled together was why it took me. I was like delayed in understanding what my experience was, and so you'll see that also echoed in the book as well. One thing that you will see that is present in the expansive edition versus what was present in Human is this, I think this focus or this emphasis on learning to love ourselves, right? And I think not just the bubble baths and the candles and all that, but the real learning to honor every part of our journey, learning to understand every part of our journey, learning to understand ourselves and to realize, these things happened because, they happened. And when I look back, for example, when I look at my sexual trauma experience, you'll see in the book that I'm like, oh, I understand why I missed that. I understand why I missed a lot of the red flags in that scenario because of how it was attached to these others' ideas of what I thought I was worth. And so that reflection is also present. I'm just trying to think what more I want to say on self-love. I think it relates as well to the liberation point that I was making earlier. What it really means to actually love ourselves, right? Honoring every piece and every part of the journey, whether we liked it or not, right? Not really being angry at every part of the journey. It's just understanding like things are the way that they are. This happened the way that it's happened, and how can I love myself through these things? And so that's a very big learning that I hope to share with everybody today. I'm going to also read an excerpt here, if that's all right. And I'm going to read it from, obviously, the actual Reflections, not the first book, because I hate that book, remember? So I'm going to actually start with the opening. You can join me if you'd like on page 83. When I first started promoting Human and people asked me what it was about, I often said human ignorance. And I felt this way at the time because of my own lived experiences, what I was healing, and where I was in my journey. The opening poem in Human invites us to acknowledge our ignorance, but the invitation is dark and lonely. This was because of how I experienced the world, often feeling the burden of society on behalf of humanity. More importantly, much of this was also the dialogue of the abandoned self, whom I've had to learn how to love since the time of writing Human. Thus, the aloneness woven through this invitation was a direct reflection of my inner world. And so the poem that I'm kind of referring to are these opening words. Maybe I will offer that here today as well, if I can find that. But again, I think it's really highlighting what I was saying, right? The self-love and learning to love the abandoned self, learning to understand her, learning to hear her, and I think learning to hear her in a very deep way. It's one thing to just like hear. When you're listening to someone just be angry, they're angry, but I think to hear underneath just the anger and to really, what we say in mindfulness and Buddhism is nurturing these seeds. How do we nurture the seeds of suffering? And I think that was a very transformative thing for me, which took years. It wasn't something I did overnight. It was 2 books in like 7 years, right? It's a process. It's not the end point. It's something that we're just kind of always doing, always practicing self-awareness and always learning and practicing how to love ourselves. On that same page, I was going to move into the second paragraph because I actually really like this paragraph. It says, however, Human really portrays what it looks like when we turn our back to suffering, our own suffering and the suffering of others. Turning our back to suffering is not the truth of human nature. Thus, the expansive invitation embedded within these opening words is that our inner world creates our outer world, and the journey in Human reminds us that we can transform both. And I really like that paragraph. It is the opening of the reflections, but I think it really highlights kind of the mission, the intention, and the work, the inner work and the outer work part. I also think it's a very important reminder, given all the global suffering that we're really exposed to right now, and it's very heightened, I think, and it seems to be everywhere. I just feel like there's not a lot of peace anywhere is kind of how I feel when I watch the news, when I watch social media, and I think it's very hard to wrap your head around, especially because I think, violence is not our human nature, right? I don't think that that's really who we are, but I think if we're imposing violence or acting violent, there's obviously some things that are misaligned, but we're suffering, right? If you're suffering, you're going to create suffering for more people, unfortunately. And so I think that the only way to really impart violence onto people is to be filled with hatred, right? Like it's so against our nature that the only way that we can actually justify being violent is being told stories of hate and discrimination and being instilled with fear. And so this paragraph to me just reminds me that there's more to us as human beings, that we are people who all really want the same things, that we are humans who are really built to help transform suffering of ourselves, but also others. And it's not our nature to turn our backs to suffering. And so that's what I also hope this book inspires people, is that we shouldn't be turning our back to the suffering of others. We shouldn't get lost in rhetoric. There's always a truth behind sometimes the things that we're told, especially in the media. And so I hope there's an invitation there to just dig a little bit deeper. And when we can see the suffering of others, when we see the suffering of ourselves, we'll see the suffering of others, and then we have an opportunity to create change. And so I hope that invitation is there here in this book for you. The other thing that was very prominent in Human in the first book was this sort of theme of darkness to light. And, again, I think it really sort of reflects this idea that I held at the time of healing being a destination where you go from darkness to light and yay, But I think in the expansive edition, we'll see how even that also evolves, that I'm not sure it's necessarily about going from darkness to light. I think it's about finding darkness within the light. And just like there's light within darkness, right? So it's finding light within the darkness, but also understanding that there's also darkness in the light. And which sounds kind of weird, but in Buddhism, that's actually the principle of like non-self and non-duality, where it's this idea that we understand that there's no left without right, there's no up without down, that all these things go together. And so when there's suffering, there is also non-suffering present, but we have to dig deep to find it. When there is not suffering, there can still be an inkling of that suffering somewhere. And we just have to know that they're always there. And when we can accept that, we actually find liberation in that, because we are now not living with some expectation that, well, I'm living in lightness now and it's always going to be this way. Or I'm always, in suffering, or I'm always in darkness and it's always going to be this way, right? We find that balance and we find that place that we can live from this sense of peace, and that's how we find liberation. So I would like to share the closing, actually, of the reflections, because I think it highlights that really quite nicely. And it actually does touch on, when you read the book and you read the end of Human, you'll actually see the specifics, what's highlighted, but it's the closing paragraph on page 113. From running in darkness to running in light, from running away to running toward, from racing the sunrise to embracing its rays, from hiding in solitude to being open to life. Human is more than a journey of darkness to light. In this expansive edition, it's a journey of darkness within the light. And there's a few, love is the lightness deep within the darkness. Love itself is expansion. When we see that darkness and light coexist together, we see the comfort in both the light and the dark. They are one, as we all are. And I think that is really the premise of this book, is again that transformation, the transformation of the suffering within us and around us, but this idea that, again, how do we liberate ourselves, right? How do we liberate ourselves? How do we become our expansive selves? And in a way that is storytelling. I don't believe in, prescribing things to people, even like as a self-help author. I don't believe in that because I think we're all on our own journeys. We all have our own lived experiences. And that doesn't mean therapy is not helpful. Definitely know what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying that, as an author, I believe in doing that through storytelling. What I try to do in all my book is I'm showing this was like my pathway to healing. It didn't make sense and it wasn't laid out for me. It was me just trying to trust the journey and trust the path and understand that these things were happening. And if I can't understand why, it's going to show up later. As I continue to navigate life, I will have that understanding later in life. And so that's something that I believe in about quote unquote self-help. I don't see this as just a self-help book. It's not just about our inner worlds. It's about our outer worlds as well and how that comes together, which is very, very important because most self-help only keeps us thinking about ourselves. And it's fine, but we do need to consider that our lives don't happen in a silo, right? I'm connected to people all the time. I share experience, share lives with our lives touch. We're in this room today, and we're all here together, so we are automatically part of each other's lives, just being in community here together. And so I think it's very important that we understand how our lives also intersect. And that's also when I wrote Human, and I talked about how human ignorance, that to me was human ignorance, was this idea that we're always passing people, but are we actually present? Are we aware of the fact that we're passing people? Or am I trapped up here in my head where I'm just thinking about where I gotta go, what I gotta do, what am I missing out on? And that to me was what human ignorance was at the time. That's evolved. I do think it's great that we do acknowledge though that we are connected to people and how we can be present with that and how we can use that to transform ourselves and everyone else and to be present with people. I do want to close before I turn this over to our wonderful friends over at Knock and Dawn. I did want to close with a really pretty quote. I did weave in, as you can tell, I've been practicing Engaged Buddhism for about 7 years, and so it's kind of woven into just very subtly, just into the book. You'll see some subtle nudges, and I tend to, it's just something that really speaks to me very deeply. And so there was a quote here by someone who has influenced me a lot in a lot of my work. I just gotta find it. But this individual, his name is actually Thich Nhat Hanh, and he is a Buddhist monk, and he trained, very traditionally, very young in Buddhism. So he was, with the the words escape, the monasteries, right? So he trained very traditionally. But he was also a peace activist, and he was most active during the Vietnam War. And he was actually, during the Vietnam War, there was the North and South governments that were fighting, and him and his community said, we're not picking sides. We're here to serve community. We're going to stay here. We're not picking any side. But because of that, no government trusted him. And so he was actually exiled from Vietnam. He had come to the U.S. to do a peace talk, and then when he tried to get back, they wouldn't let him back in the country, so he had to move to France, and he set up his own plum village there. But his work, his story is very inspiring to me, and for me as someone who, again, believes in this inner-outer world, the fact that he used this really beautiful practice that he shared with the West, but he really did a lot of peace work, and he was so truthful in it that he even accepted being exiled from his own lands and went to another country to continue to spread his work. But there's a quote that he shares in one of his books, and I actually share it here because I think it's really, really powerful, and again, especially given the climate that we're witnessing here, not the climate, but just the geopolitical tensions, the global suffering. And so, I'm not going to read the context in which it came from this book, but I want to share the quote because I think it's really, really beautiful. And it's something that it's something that sits with me all the time when I need to remember that we're all human beings. And when I see things that I don't like on the news, how do I see the humanness in people that are spewing hate, right? I think that sometimes that can be really hard. So on page 103, there's a quote here right towards the end of the page. And it says here, this is again offered by Thich Nhat Hanh in one of his books called Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet. He writes, "Our enemy is not other people. Our enemy is hatred, violence, discrimination, and fear." End quote. And I think that's extremely powerful and something that I really hang on to when I think of transforming suffering. You know, not just my own, but when I think of being involved in community, when I think of supporting, you know, when I think of helping returning citizens, when I think of creating work, when I think of you know, supporting communities, when I think of Palestinian liberation, I think of this, that our enemies are not each other. It's discrimination, discrimination, fear, and hatred that we've been taught, right? Because like I said in the beginning, I think it's the only thing that really we can use to justify as humans to commit violence, right? Does that make sense? That it's like, again, it's so against our nature. The only way we can actually do it is by being taught hatred. And that's the only way that it can justify, because when we do that, we're hurting others, but we're also really hurting ourselves. When we engage in violence, it does a lot of harm to all of us, like to ourselves if we're the ones that are doing it as well. But I want to leave with that quote because I just think it's really, really powerful. I think it's very thought-provoking, and I think it can keep us connected when we sit here and listen to Karen Bird from Knockin' Dawn today. She's going to share her work. And then we'll come back and we'll play a little bit of music.
Hello. Animkian Squandishnakas, Makwadodam, Baugting Donjaba, Miigwech Kajamanado, Mani Gijagat Nungo, Chinadam. I am Little Thunder Woman of the Bear Clan from Batchewana First Nation. I am so happy to be here this evening, and listening to Vanessa. There were just so many synergies with her journey and the things that she talked about. There's just all the light bulbs were going off as she was talking about that, and I began to realize how very similar parts of our journey were, and our thought processes, and the things that we've been through to get to the place that we are. And to tell you a little bit more about Nakendan, so in our language that means knowing your truth. And in 2012, my oldest daughter disclosed sexual abuse, and I have 3 other children besides her. And I quickly became a single parent. And then we started our journey down engaging in all of the different levels of government and agencies that are mandated to help us through that, like the child welfare system, the legal system, police, and it wasn't a great journey or a place to go through. It was extremely difficult to navigate, especially as a single parent and not having been through anything like that before. And so when we would try to engage services to help my child, then I would say, well, what about me? And they would say, well, what about you? Well, my child isn't going to survive if I don't have the skills and the capability to support her in the way that's needed, or my other children. So as I continue to find these gaps and spaces in the system, I made little notes, like literally on a yellow sticky or a piece of paper I had in my purse, or I would rip a corner off of something and I would write it down and throw it in this folder that I had at home. And this folder became more and more full. And as the years went by, I thought, you know what? If I've encountered all of these things in this journey, and I am by no means the first or the last woman to go through this, unfortunately, there are many other women and mothers and parents that are going through this. Someday I'm going to start an organization that fills some of these gaps and is my contribution to helping things. In our way of life, we believe that all things happen for a reason, that the path that you live in life, you were meant to live. And I remember early on in my journey thinking so many times, why do I have to go through this? Why do my children have to go through this? What could possibly be the point of this much suffering for people? And in listening to Vanessa talk about her journey, and even from a 5-year period, the first book and the second, it made me realize also my own journey from year 1 to year 5 to year 10, how different my outlook on life was, my outlook on how you go through those things and survive in a good way had changed. And it really shapes the programs and services that we offer at Nakandan. And our mandate, in a nutshell, is to help families heal together. You cannot heal in a silo. You know, you have to have your support. And it could be family, it could not be family. It's any other human being that wants to walk on that path with you. But if you've never been through that and you don't know what it is and you don't know how to heal, then you need those people that have already been there, that have already done that have already walked through, that have already made it to that other side where they understand the balance and the reason why they've gone through it, to hold your hand and to guide you through that. And that is the basis of what we offer at Nakandan. And we incorporate a lot of our cultural values, a lot of our ceremonies. We have a lot of survivors that are with us, that volunteer, that give their time, that really know that journey and can speak to people and really meet them where they are because they've been there. And every single time I talk about this, someone will share with me, my aunt, my sister, my cousin, my friend, my mom, my grandma. So they always tell me that they know someone who's going through this, which is really a very sad state for things to be in. But at the same time, I feel honored that they would share that with me because it's not always something that you can say out loud. And so I feel very honored that people feel safe to share that with me. And I do my best to even just comfort them in that moment so that they know that they're heard. That is the biggest thing for survivors, is to know that you're heard. And so we're on Wellington Street, across from, at the top of Brock, across from the new police station. Hopefully a very safe place. We turned the yard of our building into a green space where we offer sweat lodge ceremonies and other ceremonies there. We encourage survivors when they come to see us to bring their family members with them so that they're healing together. I call that journey, or when someone discloses, trauma shrapnel, because when somebody discloses, no one in the vicinity of that person's life escapes unharmed. They all feel a piece of that in some way or shape, and everybody needs to heal together after that disclosure happens. And that's what we work on there. All of our programs are named after an Anishinaabe word in something I created called the Healing Continuum, from prevention until somebody who is an advocate. And there are those stages that somebody will go through in their journey. And I was there myself, because there was a day where I thought I never wanted to speak about this. I didn't want anyone to know what we went through. And today I speak in front of cameras and in front of rooms full of people and talk about my personal life. But I feel that's what Creator, this is the reason why Creator put us through that now. So I just wanted to say Chimigwech to Vanessa for allowing me a few moments to talk about this. And as I was sitting, when things started, and as I was sitting, I turned to Kendall, who's sitting beside me, our executive director, and I said, I'm having a deja vu right now. And in our way of life, deja vu is a moment that Creator gives you to let you know that your spirit has already been here in this moment and already done that. So it's a validation that you're on your path and you're in the right place, and you're going in the right direction. So I just wanted to, again, say miigwech to everybody that's here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And I appreciate everyone. Miigwech.
that is that first piece. I wish I had more of a story as to like why I wrote it, but I don't know how to read or write music, and so I wrote this like years ago, and I didn't play it for a long time, and then I had this idea. I was like, I should play it on the show because it just makes sense and it connects. But I didn't remember it, so it was a lot of work having to like find the muscle memory again to recreate it, and I actually know it's wrong. Not wrong, it's not wrong, but there was one part I couldn't think of. And I was like, that's it. It's just going to have to stay this way. But so that is a rendition of the first of the first song that I wrote for the book. Whew, I'm glad we got. I was most stressed about that one because I had to recreate it again somewhere in here and in here and in here. So the next piece does not have a title. So if anyone has some ideas, please let me know. I will give you a credit on it because I don't know what to call it. I wrote it maybe a year or two, maybe 2 years ago. I was in California, and the room I was renting in the garage, they had this soundproof booth that apparently used to be, that once was at Coachella or something. I don't know, but they were like, you can use it for whatever. And so this was the room that I created this song. Again, if you have a title, please let me know at the end. I don't know what to call it. I'm open to anything. I have ideas, but yes, please let me know your thoughts. But yeah, I don't know. I have to be honest, I'm not 100% sure what inspired me in this one. I just was playing around one day, and I just found this pattern that I really like, to be honest. And I know sometimes you expect a lot of depth from us as artists, but sometimes we just like to play around too, Like, leave us alone, okay? So any song titles? I'm open. Oh, yeah, one in the back, yep. I like it. I like it. I'll give you a credit for that one. Any other ideas? Anyone want to rebuttal? Oh, yeah. A Walk to Remember in the back, go ahead. Sorry? Being, I like it too. We can do Dancing in the Light being A Walk to Remember. I don't know. Well, maybe we can mash it up. Maybe not. But thank you. Thank you for your offerings. I like them all. I like them all. I'm going to think about it, and then we'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you. I need a title. It's been 2 years. I wrote that one like 2 years ago, so it's about time it gets a title, I think. All right, the next piece that I have has a title, and it's called Solace. I think it was originally called something to do with like an eclipse or something. I don't really know why. Then I felt I was trying too hard, and then one day it just made me feel like solace. I was like, yeah, that's nice. So that's this one. This is a fun one to play. I'm trying to think. Again, I think this one also just came, I wouldn't say from play. I kind of knew I wanted to do something a little bit more, maybe quote unquote advanced. But this is one of the first pieces that I wrote after learning that was maybe not as like simple as some of the first ones. Piano to me is like, it's like a dance. It's like your hands are dancing. That's how I feel when I like play or watch. I'm just like dancing. It's just the dance of the hands, you know? And so that's what this one is about. Also, I'm really low, so. All right. And that is Solace. Now I've got a couple more that I'm going to sing, if that's all right. This first piece that I wrote is called Leaving. It's for my god siblings who grew up one day and went to school. And that's fine. You're allowed to have a life. It's fine. But that's what this song is about. Yeah, because they are leaving. Well, they're already gone. I think they're both coming back. So then I'm going to sing it again when they leave, again. That's fine. The emotional train, it's fine, it's fine. That's what this song was inspired by. I know that you're leaving, but it's not goodbye. It's hard to believe that we have fallen a prey to time. How it flies, how it lies, how it hides bright in plain sight. How the world always turns after goodbyes and final words. Will you miss me when I'm gone? Will you think of me in the dawn? Will you see my face in the stars? Will you hear my voice in your heart? I tried not to see it, but you can't outrun the face of pent-up pride. No, I want to heal it. I can't be the only one who's putting it all the time. How it flies, how it's gone in the blink of an eye, while the world always turns after goodbyes and final words. Will you miss me when you're gone? Will you think of me in the dawn? Will you see my face in the stars? Will you hear my voice in your heart? If your heart is beating and mine is beating for the both of us, when it gets too much, I'll be the one speaking up. There's no need to rush. I know that you're leaving, but it's not goodbye. Will you miss me when I'm gone? Will you think of me in the dawn? Will you see my face in the stars? Will you hear my voice like I hear your voice in my heart? So that's for my godsmains. And they don't miss me when they're gone. I know that much. Not one text, not one call. It's fine. I'm not upset. It's totally okay. All right. This next one also has a title. Uh-oh. It'll come to me while we sing. While I sing. I should have put the lyrics. That would have been fun, like karaoke. That would have been fun. Should have done that. Should talk to my team about that. My team is me. So. Thanks for laughing at that. Like, I really appreciate the person who thought that was really funny. Oh, this is called The Truth About Love. That's what it's called. Morning got me running so hard, been waiting so long. Now that we're at the start, oh, I'm hanging on by the corner of the moon, flopping on the sand, trying not to dry out. No one ever told me you would be like this. dreaming of. No one ever told me it would be this hard to love you without wanting to give up. It's true about love, yeah. Nobody knows if we're doing it right, so we strap on a delay and we hold on tight. No one ever told me it would be this hard to love you the way that I've been dreaming of. No one ever told me it would be this hard to love you, to give up. Oh, it's true about love, yeah. I feel like that's a song that can relate to a lot of us. And get into the next one here. This song is really interesting. When I set out to write it, it's kind of like I thought I was writing about something, but then when I finished it, I was like, I think I'm writing about something else. And then I think they all kind of mixed in together. But it works. It's the beauty of art. I think it's really about liberation again, the kind of our own. Maybe having dreams and believing in them, but also believing in them a lot, but also knowing we have to sometimes kind of surrender to our dreams, right? Sometimes we gotta let our dreams happen. We can set the intention, let them happen as they are supposed to. But it does really tie in some of these ideas of breaking free, I think. And the dream is fading, and the flash is overrated, and I hate to see it for myself. To know I can't be bought, the dream surrenders. And all I'm left to wonder, who said they had to let it go? To pave my own road, am I the only one who feels the calm beneath the storm? Am I the only one who sees human silent war? And I don't want to be another one in this world. Someone care to tell me what exactly we're living for? The talking points are weak. The truth we cannot speak is alive in the safety of the streets. Until we can read, deep in the shadows they lie, waiting to stomp on our pride as they're getting in closer. But this is far from over. Am I the only one who feels like calm beneath the storm? Am I the only one who feeds human silent war? And I don't want to be another pawn in this world. Will someone care to tell me what exactly we're living for? Lost in dreams inside of me, trapped in the stories they won't see. We're not just characters, we're here to be remembered. Lost in the dreams inside of me, trapped in the stories they won't see. We're not just characters, we're here to be remembered. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? Am I the only one who feels? Am I the only one who feels the calm beneath the storm? Am I the only one who sees you in silent war? And I don't want to be another pawn in this world. Will someone care to tell me what exactly don't remember the name of that one. All right, I got two songs here, and then we're going to get into the finale, which I'm super excited about. Okay, but first we got to get through these two. Now, these are especially, we've been talking about Indigenous reconciliation, we've been talking about global suffering. So these songs are actually a little bit about my journey with that. I think it's really interesting when I think of my life, right? I am a settler here in Canada, but I'm also half Mexican and Italian, and so it's interesting to, have this idea or this exposure, right? I do know a lot about the colonization of Mexico, but then at the same time, I'm kind of a settler, and I'm still helping to make amends here in community, and so it's been a journey, I think, this journey of like decolonizing myself as someone who is not Indigenous and having to do some of that inner work. And I think that's really what this track is kind of touching on. And we're going to do like a 2-in-1. So I'm going to play this track and we're going to get into the second one. Like we're going to flow right into it. But I think you'll see those common themes there. And I think calling out as well some of the, some of the government complicity in a lot of what we're witnessing, in particular with the genocide in Palestine, is something that I've really struggled to come to terms with. And so we'll see sort of hints of that. Well, no, we're going to hear it directly. But we're going to get, this is the first one.
People with nowhere to go.
just hurts. When all the tears run out, you'll be safe and sound right here in the depths of my heart. Didn't know what's right could be tucked behind the chance of being politicized. How do you sleep at night when there's a genocide staining your legacy on the line? I'm out of words for you, an excellent few are for those of us who know the truth. When it all comes down, when your light burns out and your hope dries out. When there's nowhere to turn and your screen starts to burn and your heart just hurts. When all the tears run out, you'll be safe and sound right here in the depths of my heart. Can't you see? Oh, we're falling apart and isn't there reality? Help me. Oh, I'm scared I'm losing all hope in humanity. Oh, I'm scared I'm losing all hope. When it all comes down, when your light burns out and your hope dries out. When there's nowhere to turn and his grief starts to burn and your heart just hurts. When it all comes down, when your light burns out and your hope dries out. When the tears roll down. When the tears run out, you will be safe and sound right here in the depths of my Help me. Oh, I'm scared I'm losing all hope in humanity. Thank you. Whew. I'm not crying, you're crying. All right. So we're going to get into our finale today. I think this has probably been my favorite part that I've been looking forward to. So growing up, my favorite band was the All-American Rejects. You know who they are. I'll keep you my dirty little secret. You know who they are, okay? They're coming back, in case you didn't know. And so I'm very excited that they're back. And so I was like, all right, I'll do a cover. The problem, between 4 studio albums plus the 4 new tracks they dropped, I was like, how am I supposed to pick one? I mean, they're all great. So we're going to do a mashup of about maybe 7 or 10. Yeah. And those ones aren't even like my favorites. It's just like the ones that I could transition into the easiest. Oh my. For dramatic effect. But yes, we're going to do a little bit of a mashup. We're not going to be here for 20 minutes. It's like 7 minutes or something. Sorry. But I want you to get a taste of, their music. They're really great. They're doing this really cool thing too, where they're on tour right now with the Jonas Brothers, but they're actually doing this thing where they're doing house parties, so you can submit your backyard to their website, and they'll do a house party, and it's free. So, and they've been doing it. You gotta follow them. I cried when I saw that they were back, and then when they had this house party thing, I cried because I rent and I can't submit my backyard, but it's all right. But I'm telling you, it's actually really cool. So I love them. They don't know who I am at all. I'm just this person here who loves them. I'm also in their Discord channel, by the way. They have a Discord channel, and I needed to be in this channel because I don't know anyone else that loves the Rejects in my circle as much as I do. And so I needed community. I was like, I need to be here. I was sifting through my stuff, and I forgot to bring it. I drew a photo of them when I was 13 years old, and I have it, and I found it, and I was like, oh my God. And I should have brought it, but I forgot. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to just have some fun. You're going to know some of them, some of the songs. You're going to know not some of the songs. But we're going to have fun, and I just hope you enjoy their music as much as I do. I think they're just fantastic. And I want to highlight, I like all four of them. I don't have a favorite. Someone asked me if I had a favorite Reject, and I was so insulted. I was like, no, you can't have a favorite. You love them all individually and collectively, right? So that's what we're going to do tonight to close this. And our finale song, which you all know is going to be Gives You Hell. So please warm up. Just take a chance, just warm up. You don't have to even sing, you can just yell it. It's great if you're like getting out of a relationship. It's a lot of like stuff you can just let out. But that's what our finale song is going to be. But we're going to go through some of these other fun ones. This is called Fallen Apart. Okay, that was a warm-up. We're going to do it for real. Can somebody save me? 'Cause I'm thinking maybe you can take me piece by piece, yeah. But you got your reasons, and I didn't need them. But either way, I'm on my knees, yeah. You knew when I was wrong. You said that I'm deranged. Can't you see that you're uneasy and it's not gonna change? No matter how far or wherever you go, I'm calling. Even when you're breaking my heart, yeah. Wherever you go, I'm calling. Even when we're falling, even when we're falling apart. Yeah, I guess we're falling apart. This is called Another Heart Calls. Talk to me, I throw myself in front of you. And this could be the last mistake that I would ever want to do. All I ever do is get up, you see my point of view. But as soon as I see you, well, didn't I tell you as deep as I knew you? You wanna leave it out, what can I do? Say it's true or everything that matters breaks in two. Say it's true, I'll never ask for anyone. I know that you want me to figure it out. God knows that it's too, yeah, what can I do? Say it's true, I'll never ask for anyone but you. Alright, everyone knows this one. I'm giving it away, you guys, come on. This is It Ends Tonight. Oh. And now I'm on my own side. It's better than being on your side. It's my fault when you're blind. It's better that I see it through your eyes. Oh, it's not like inside. Now you're the first to know. Okay, come on, everyone. When darkness turns to light. Oh no. Darkness turns to light. It ends tonight. It ends tonight. Just a little insight won't make this right. It's too late to fight. It ends tonight. Yeah, it ends tonight. Tonight. Yeah, just decide. When darkness turns to light. This is called Top of the World. I think of Trump for some reason. Is there anybody out there that wakes up with a bitter taste? It's the king that we put up there, but he's so way to fall from grace. That's only filling up one but you have no ground. I hear it from the lost word. They say time that you have lost your crown. Don't be so greedy. A dollar's a penny to you when hearts are beating. Say what you want them to do. Waste it away. I see you when the top of the world falls on you. Finding the day don't wanna be you when the top of the world. This is a fan favorite. Wait, Alicia, you told me you liked the Rejects. Okay. This is Swing Swing. It's another fun one if you've just like had a bad breakup. It's good. I don't have a lot of those. Days swiftly come and go. I'm dreaming of her. She's seeing other guys. The emotions they stir. The sun is gone. The nights are long. And I am left while the tears fall. Did you think that I would cry on the phone? Do you know what it feels like being alone? You'll find someone new. Swing, swing, swing from the tangles of my heart is crushed by a former love. Can you help me find a way? This is a new one. I cut you out. Don't be so typical. Put in my tap shoes on like eggshells while I dance around you. So work it out. Don't be so difficult. I'm pouring salt around the cemetery, licking my wounds like it's too late to fall out. Spitting on the shoulder that you used to cry on. So dry your eyes. Don't make it cyclical. What goes around, goes around, goes around. You only love me when I'm out of control. Easy come, easy go. You only love me when I'm out on the road. Easy come, easy go. You ask me what went wrong. I'll write you this last song. Please just tell me when we can win. One more thing before I go to the one who loves me so. 3, don't make me count to 3 again. Okay, now is Dirty Little Secret. Okay, guys, come on, please. We're gonna start right at the chorus. I know we got this. And I'll keep you my dirty little secret. Don't tell anyone, no, you'll be just another regret. I hope that you can keep it my dirty little secret. Who has to know when we live such fragile lives? It's the best way we survive. I go around a time or two just to waste my time. All right, if you don't know that one, you know, move along. Come on. So a day when you lost yourself completely could be the night when your life ends. Such a heart that will leave you too deceiving. All the pain held in your hands are shaking cold. Your hands are meant to hold. Speak to me when all you gotta keep is strong. Move along like I know you do. And even when your hope is gone, move along right to my favorite song. Alicia, like, come on. You told me you loved them. Oh, sick. Oh, sure. All right. All right. This is called Dance Inside. This is my favorite song when I first discovered them. This is track number 8 on the Move Along album, in case you were curious. You don't have to move, you don't have to speak. Lips fall Titanic, you're staring me down. A glance makes me weak. Eyes fall striking. and I missed it with you. Brushed so lightly, and time trickles down and I'm breathing for two. I squeeze so tightly, I'll be fine, you'll be fine. This moment seems so long, don't waste new precious time. I'll dance inside the zone, wanna make someone to shake you down. Each touch belongs to each new sound. Say now you want to shake me too. Move down to me, slip into you. Okay, everybody, big finale. This is Gives You Hell. All you have to know is Gives You Hell. That's all you need to know for this one. Do we want to practice this together? Yes? We got to practice it? All right. So we're going to start from that last verse. The bridge, whatever you want to call it. I'm self-taught, remember. I don't know what things are called. I just know music. So we got this song.
You'll never see what you've done to me. Don't take back your memories. They're no good to me. Here's all your lies. You can look me in the eyes with a sad, sad look that you wear so well.
Okay, repeat after me. When you see my face, hope it gives you hell, hope it gives you hell. There you go. When you walk my way, hope it gives you hell, hope it gives you hell. All right. What's that? You don't have to sing. You can just scream. You can just be mad. This is, I don't like to, we're saying gives you hell. We're not here to spread hate, but we can be angry, We can be mad. We can just be mad for a second. All right, so when you find a man who's worth a damn and treats you well, that's hard, I'm sorry. Then he's a fool, you're just as well. Do you want to just say gives you hell? Okay, I'm just going to do this, and you're just going to do that. Ready? Good teamwork today, guys. Oh, I am not playing the right thing. Here we go. Now you'll never see what you've done to me. You can take back your memories that now good to me. And here's all your lies. You can't look me in the eyes with a sad, sad look that you wear so well. When you see my face, hope it gives you hell, hope it gives you hell. When you walk my way, hope it gives you hell, hope it gives you hell. When you find a man that's worth the damn and treats you well, then he's a fool, yeah, just as well, hope it gives you hell. When you see my face, hope it gives you hell, hope it gives you hell. When you walk my way, hope it gives you hell, hope it gives you hell. When you hear this song and sing along, why you never tell. Yeah, you're the fool, yeah, just as well, hope it gives you hell. When you hear this song, I hope that it will give you hell. When you sing along, I hope that it puts you through hell. Yes. Are you clapping because it's over? You're like, no more rejects, please. Don't talk like that about them. Not while I'm here. That's what us Rejects fans, we call that the revenge song, and they typically close with it. So, anyways, thank you for listening to me. They are my absolute favorite. I love them. They just released Search Party. Great track. You should do that. As I mentioned, I'm a great artist at promoting everybody else. But that is all for tonight. So thank you so much for coming out here. I want to say thank you to everybody here because your tickets did support our contribution today to Knock and Don. Thank you to Northern Credit Union. Thank you to Thrive Tours. Thank you to our live streamers because your tickets also did contribute to our contribution to Knock and Don. Thank you to the Speakeasy team over there. Thank you to Alicia, our new and our seasoned bartenders. And if you did not get a copy of your book on the way out, just make sure you do that because you did get a copy with your tickets. Thank you for supporting local. And I do encourage everyone just to remember it is National Truth and Reconciliation Day on Tuesday. And there's a lot of stuff happening right here at Algoma University. I usually attend the vigil. It's one of my favorite things. I mean, favorite things, right? It's emotional, but it's something I typically tend to attend. So I hope to see you there. And as you're leaving, know that when leaving, but it's not goodbye. It's hard to believe that we have run all out of time. How it flies, how it lies when we're having a good time. Will you miss me when you're gone? Will you think of me in the dawn? Will you see my face in the stars? Will you hear my voice like I hear your voice in my heart? Thank you. Oh, and thank you, DJ Steve. Sorry about that. In the back over there. Thank you, everybody.